Hello everyone, welcome to Burgundy. Thank you so much for being with us tonight here, but today for you. We are more than 250 today to taste these great wines of the 23 vintage. So thank you very much to be with us. For most of you, you know us already, you know our wines, or you know the house, Maison, Albéric Bichot, you know Matthieu. But for the newcomers, may we introduce us, Matthieu Mangenot, the king of wine. He's our general technical manager.
Bonjour à tous.
We are collaborating together for more than 20 years. And myself, Albéric Bichot from the Bichot family, representing the 6th generation. So welcome on board. I hope you are well seated at your home, at your office, in a good armchair. Most of you, I hope you have good glasses and the bottles to taste all together. Here we are downtown Beaune in our historical family home. Different from last year. Last year it was raining. It was quite cold, but today sun is here. It's great. You cannot see it, but it's fantastic. Fortunately, we do not have already suffered from spring frost. We cross the fingers for the next 3-4 weeks probably, but the passion is here in any case. What we propose you today is a very short introduction of the winery for those for the first time. Then Matthieu will give us some more details, more characteristics about the 23 vintage. Then, of course, we will start the tasting of 6 wines today. 3 whites, 3 reds from our various domains. So we will start with Chablis Premier Cru, les Beugnons from Domaine Long-Depaquit, the Pouilly-Fuissé Premier Cru, then the Meursault white from Domaine du Pavillon, then a jewel of Beaujolais region with the Moulin-à-Vents Rochegrès, fabulous wine, Mercurey, the famous Mercurey en Pierre Milley, and then we will follow at the end with the Vosne-Romanée Premier Cru, les Malconsorts. I don't want to disclose any details for the moment, but I'm sure and I hope it will be great. So let's start, if you agree, even if you don't agree, as we cannot discuss, sorry for that. Albéric Bichot, as you may know or not know, but is one of the eldest family winery in Burgundy, still independent, still in a family. We have been founded by my great-great-grandfather in 1831, sorry. So let's say in 6-7 years' time, we will celebrate our 2nd century anniversary. We will do something all together, I hope. So impossible, and it's too long to summarize 200 years of history, but most important is to see where we are today. So basically, of course, we are wine growers in Burgundy. We have the chance of owning 240 acres from the north part of Burgundy down to the south. So 6 estates with 6 dedicated teams. So if we start by the north with Chablis, we have the Domaine Long-Depaquit, mainly with 6 Grand Crus and 6 Premier Crus, which is quite unusual. 6 Grand Crus like les Vaudezières, les Preuses, les Clos, and of course the very famous Mouton. On the Premier Cru, we will taste one of them today, les Beugnons. In addition, you know, or maybe not, we have les Vaucopains, les Vaillons, le Monté de Tonnerre, etc., etc. Then, to the south part, we go to the Côte de Nuit, where we have, of course, the Château Gris, but also the Domaine du Clos Frantin with the famous Grand Cru as the Richebourg, Échezeaux Grand Cru, Grand Échezeaux Grand Cru, Claude Vougeot, Chambertin. So the Vosne-Romanée Premier Cru, les Malconsorts, some Vosne-Romanée, Gevrey, Chambertin, and so on. A little bit south, la Côte de Beaune, with Domaine du Pavillon, based in Pommard, but producing not only Pommard or Pommard Premier Cru, les Rugiens. We produce also Meursault, Meursault Premier Cru, Corton Grand Cru des Maréchaux, Corton Charlemagne, Volnay Premier Cru, and some others. So we are very blessed to have this property in the winery. It's so great. One of the last domain we have created is a Domaine Adélie in Mercurey village, where we have some whites, Mercurey whites and Mercurey red. We will have one of them, of course, today for the tasting. And at the end, the Domaine de Rochegrès in Moulin-à-Vents. What could I say more? In terms of viticulture, we will not describe everything, but one thing very important for us is really the turning point of our viticulture in 2014, when we have enjoyed the certification organic, 100% organic, for our Domaine du Pavillon, Domaine du Clos Frantin, Domaine Adélie, and this year we will get the final certification from 4 Domaine Long-Depaquit in Chablis. So today more than 100 hectares, so 240 acres, certified organic. There is not so many, I think, in Burgundy. But hopefully many of our friends, they are following. It's great. Almost 15% of total Burgundy is now certified. So it's great for the sustainability of our future. It's really one of the key points of the, let's say, of the new generation I represent. Even if I lost some hair and I have still white hair, I still consider myself as the new generation compared to the 5 before. In terms of style of wine, our main objective is really to try to reveal the identity of each wine, of each terroir, each soil, each small parcel we can have on the slopes or in the valley. How we can do that, Matthieu will explain to you much more later. You know already the terroir, what we call now the climate, les climats. It has been it has been classified at the UNESCO Patrimonium in 2015 as really the unique model in the world of la culture de terroir. It means the terroir viticulture, the terroir origin. It's very great, I can tell you. So if we are ready, let's go. 2023 vintage, Matthieu. A nightmare, a pleasure. How was it?
A pleasure, but yeah, vintage with really extreme weather condition again. I would say again, as we had many other vintages like that, but this was really on the extreme side. Just to develop a little bit, the winter was quite classic, quite dry and with no risk of frost, so we didn't suffer really from this kind of problem in 2023. But break occurred at the beginning of April, around the 10th of April, which is quite classic again. But then came a period of spring, very humid, very rainy already, with quite a lot of weeds going out, and we had the pleasure to add some sheep you've seen on the screen, yes, to help us to take care of some plots. But already we've seen quite a lot of rain at the beginning of this year that led some really problems to take care, and we had to be very careful on especially on the weed at the beginning. May has been much warmer, with already a kind of summer temperature already in May, which was the first sign of a really crazy vintage with really up and downs. June has followed with again with very sunny and with very summer kind temperature, and the flower period took place at the beginning of June, so the 5th of June, which is quite early. We have already seen at the beginning of June that we had quite a lot of yield, generally speaking, with some grapes coming out very gently, very nicely. And we were already planning at this period some green harvest. So we knew at the beginning of June that some yield control would be something interesting to do in summer.
You mean we have pruned some bulbs?
Yeah, so that's something we did in July. So remove some grapes and control the yield.
So we have removed between 10, 20%.
10, 20, 25% locally, and it was really a good thing to do to get some concentration and really to keep the quality as high as we wanted. It's always a big decision to make, but if you don't do it, you are sure to make something wrong. But if you do it, yes, you know that you can do something great. So it's always a big question. It was really a good thing to do. Then July has been extremely nice with also very warm conditions, leading to some stormy episodes. So we had a few stormy episodes during July, but that didn't create any damages. August was really up and downs with the first 15 days quite cold and rainy, with very, very low temperature. But then the last 15 days of the month, we had a very big heat wave at this period. So again, a lot of contrast with up and down, and August was again a sign of this on this vintage. The heat waves led to another very strong stormy episode at the end of August, that then gave a very cold period with very low temperatures that slowed down the maturation process. So when I'm mentioning the up and downs, that's exactly that, with the beginning of August being cold, then a heat wave with a very, very big temperature, and then down to the end of the month to something very slow. That really gave us some difficulties and big work to approach to make all our programs of picking ready, because of this switch to heat and to very much cooler temperature was quite difficult. And then September, we were back to a very strong heat wave. So from the 2nd of September to the 12th of September, really I would say a traditional August heat wave that we've never seen before at that time of the year, up to 30, 35 Celsius in September. So again, the maturation went back, the process went back and run back to something much more active. So it was really high time again to adapt ourselves. That's what we do every year, but it was another year quite hectic on this. We began picking around the 10th of September, so really at the end of this heat wave, in order to keep some freshness, and especially on the white wines to keep the fruitiness and the levels of acidity on this.
10th of September, it's compared to the past 20 years, it's not so. It's quite early.
Yeah,
you remember some harvest really at the end of September, sometimes really at the beginning of October.
Yeah, it was more.
But most important is to find the right day to pick the grapes, to find the good balance between acidity, the sugarness.
Yeah, and of course
sugar contents.
Yeah, and the polyphenolic, also the polyphenolic ripeness that tend to slow because of this up and down. So you need to wait until this is great, but without having some over ripeness. This means lower acidity and in some cases too high alcohol. So that's again a balance to find to reach the right target. So if I can sum up, this vintage has been again the hottest ever. If you look at the figure of average temperature, level of sun, hours of sun during the period of growing, it's been the hottest vintage ever. But you'll see some big differences with 2020, for example. That was the last vintage with hot temperature. You will see the different approach also, adaptation that we had on the winemaking. Again, time of picking was very crucial to keep the terroir-oriented style we want, and to keep the link and the obvious link we are looking with the terroir. So let's start.
Shall we start?
I think so.
We start all together, unless you started already at home. So we start with a Chablis Premier Cru.
So
Les Beugnons. Les Beugnons from Domaine Long-Depaquit.
So yes, Domaine Long-Depaquit, located in Chablis, in the northern part of Burgundy. in a cooler region with a very typical soils called Kimmeridgian. And those soils are, of course, clay and chalk, but with a lot of little oysters that you can very easily find in the soils. And that will give to the Chardonnay this very strong characteristic. We say minerality, that this could be described as a, saltiness, flintstones, chalkiness, iodine character in the wine.
Just for maybe some of you don't know what is Kimmeridgian. Kimmeridgian was a historical era in the Jurassic time. It's one of the layers of the Jurassic.
Exactly.
And at that time, the sea was on Chablis. And then the sea went off. And as you said, you had the deposit of everything. And when Matthieu talked about shells, oysters, small means really half a centimeter that you can find really on the surface of the soil.
Very easily.
It's incredible.
And the name of this layer, Kimmeridgian, comes from the little city of Kimmeridge, which is in the south of England, where they first saw that kind of layers. So that's a very historical layer that is really going out only on few places in the world, and especially in Chablis.
Cheers to the English.
This is them. So this Beugnons comes from the left bank of the river, which is coming from the main valley called Vaillon. And you know that inside this valley of Vaillon, you have also you have a main name of Vaillon, but you have also subclimate names. So a little name that you can use that could be claimed as Vaillon or from their own little names. And are considered as sub-part of the map. This Beugnons is really on the far end of the valley, southeast facing, and it's a place that is quite protected from the winds, a bit warmer than, for example, Lys, that is the other Premier Cru, which is next to. And Lys will be a bit more north exposed with a much cooler microclimate condition. And this Beugnons is really, for this, as it tends to be a bit warmer, will show some beautiful hints of minerality, of course,
yes,
as well as...
usually the Beugnons is one of the very first we pick the grapes.
Yeah, as well as, yes, and as well as nice fruit character. So Lys will be more flower-driven, whereas this Beugnons will show some nice fruit. Ripe fruit as well as this mineral character. And yes, we harvest it at the beginning, as it tends to ripen a bit quicker due to this far end position with a protected area. To do this wine, we will ferment 100% in stainless steel tank, so no oak at all, to keep it as fresh as possible and to preserve this fruitiness as well as the minerality. So again, what surprised me on this vintage is, despite this warmer and very warm conditions, just before the harvest, we've got some tension, you've got some grip, you've got this, thank you for the video, it shows some zesty character, lemon zesty character that you have, so that's all the work we do with the winemaking team to preserve this freshness despite the conditions.
You really have the salinity on the tongue. You drink a glass, you want another glass. And I think, tell me if you agree or not, but you will agree, it's not a crime to drink it today. It will age, of course. Yeah. 5 years, 7 years, 10 years time, no worry. But even to drink now, the pleasure is here. Yeah,
pleasure is here, and it's made also, that's part of our style, it's made on the fruit. It's got a hint of fruit that we have here today, as well as this ability to age. If you want to go on the mineral side and get rid a bit of this fruitiness, you can also age it. But you've got the roundness of the place, so again, that's definitely a Beugnons with a bit more roundness and beautiful expression.
The roundness and the length, with a great backbone, let's say. Let's move now to the Pouilly-Fuissé Premier Cru. Pouilly-Fuissé Premier Cru, it's quite new. Normally, it used to be only Pouilly-Fuissé with no Premier Cru, but since the vintage 2020, the French regulations, etc., they have classified roughly a little bit more than 20% of the total area of Pouilly-Fuissé with Premier Cru. Totally, there are something like 24 Premier Cru, different Premier Cru.
22, I think, yeah.
22, sorry. And one of them is this one, Quarts. It's the location it's very close to another Premier Cru, le Clos. So it's really on the close to the village of Chantrey. If you see, probably you have on your screen you have the map, Pouilly-Fuissé, and you see a little village, Chantrey, a wonderful, very beautiful small village with very, very good people there, very good friends we have there. And so Quarts Premier Cru is one of them.
You see that the Pouilly-Fuissé appellation is quite long, beginning at Vergisson and going down to Chantrey. Vergisson is where you have the two rocks, the two iconic rocks that are shown on a lot of pictures. But this Premier Cru comes from the opposite side, Chantrey, which is really known to be the earth of the Premier Cru. Like you said, Albéric, Clos has always been claimed, and it's just next to Les Quarts. Clos will be at the middle of the slope. If you go to Chantrey, you'll see some slope facing 100% the east, and at the middle of the slope will be the Clos, and this Premier Cru Les Quarts is just above Clos, so it's just a bit higher in altitude. That tends to give a bit more grape, just a little bit more freshness compared to the Clos.
So as you can taste, it's quite different, of course, from the Chablis Premier Cru. But in terms of style, of energy, we can talk about energy, the sharpness.
So the harvest took place in really the beginning of September, so the 5th of September for this wine. It's handpicked by our team in Chantrey and vinified in oak, so 100% in oak with only 20% new oak. And
the fermentation is done in the oak, in the barrel.
And more and more with no more 228 liter barrels, but more 350 liter barrels to give more space to the wine and the fruit it has to show.
It's a very good result because you do not feel the oak at all.
Yeah. So
we always say, if you feel in our Albéric Bichot wines oak, it's I can't say it's a disaster, but it's not at all our point of view. We use oak only to make the wine breathing through the wood, through the oak, but not at all to get the nut taste or the burning taste or the toasty taste. Not at all. I mean, this Pouilly-Fuissé, it's very clear.
So again, Chardonnay, it's really nice to have it just after the Chablis. It's Chardonnay again, same region. It's a bit more than 2-hour drive from Chablis to Chantrey, but that's really for me the essence of Burgundy and how the terroir will affect the expression of the Chardonnay. Of course, it's much more a bit of dried fruit, a bit of apricot, a bit of really ripe peach. So to me, that's really something you want to drink again. You have hints of toast, but really at the back, that's not in the forefront. And this richness, this mellowness, it's so easy. It's really a wine you want to have prior to food and to share with friends.
And you are very lucky and you are very good in the US. I don't know if you know that, but the first export market for Pouilly-Fuissé, I could say for more than 80 years, Pouilly-Fuissé is really the wine for the US. I could say in the middle range.
Yeah. And so
the more you drink Pouilly-Fuissé, the less the English will have.
Yeah. And it was really our quest to offer you something special. Of course, you have the classic Pouilly-Fuissé that you can find in quite large volume within the States, but this is a unique terroir, so that's also the result of our quest. We mentioned that we wanted to show the different terroir, and Mâconnais and the region of Mâcon has a lot of places to show, and that really needs to be bottled individually. So the same approach we are using here in Côte de Beaune or Côte de Nuit. So really a single plot that has a very, very interesting characteristic.
Something you don't know, but it's quite important because we do not produce a huge volume of this Premier Cru, but with our commercial team in the US, with Jim Opalka on the good other boys, we have decided to sell this Premier Cru only to America, only to the US. It's really an exclusivity for your market, for your customers. And for French market, for other markets, we have the Clos or others, but probably you have the best.
Yeah, and it's less than 15 barrels in total, so it's very limited production.
So 15 barrels, so it means
it's
one barrel is 300 bottles.
Yeah.
So make the calculation. It's around
5,
400 cases for the US.
Mm.
Thank you to like it. We move to Meursault.
So
Meursault, the heart of the white Burgundy. You have Meursault, you have Pouilly-Fuissé, you have Chassagne-Montrachet, the three iconic places, in fact, for the whites. If we forget Corton-Charlemagne and these places. But here you are really in the heart of La Côte des Blancs, La Côte des Whites.
Yeah, so the soils here are again clay and chalky soils with a bit more clay than other places, and they will give very good results with white wines. So of course Meursault, Pouligny, Chassagne are part of this sub-region that create to me the very extraordinary wines on the creamy side, some very big dry extract. And this is part of them.
It's creamy, but it's not fat at all. Huh?
No.
Sometimes Meursault can be a little bit mellow, but especially this specific plot, which is probably you have the map in front of you. It's more close to Volnay. Volnay is another village on the south part of Meursault. And in these specific plots, we have a special. All the soils are special, of course, but this one is. It's really mineral.
Yeah, it's got some tension. So what we do here is a blend. We've got 4 or 5 different plots, more in the northern part of Meursault, that you can see Dressol, Magny, Corbin, etc. And we decided to do a blend. So some will be more on the tension with less structure, but some nice minerality and vibrant acidity. And some other plot will bring the structure. So we decided to make a blend. So this wine is a blend of those different plots to take the best of every plot. So at the end, you've got a beautiful nose.
So it's from Domaine du Pavillon. Domaine du Pavillon is the winery is based in Pommard. I have the privilege and the chance of living there. Probably you see on your screen the village of Pommard, the winery, the home,
and the people picking,
the vineyards, and the pickers. Thank you, Luca. You can't see Luca, but Luca is our help, our marketing help, our digital help at Albéric Bichot, and thank you for all these great images. Thank you.
So yeah, it's got nice energy, white flowers oriented. Again, it's a lot of work that has been done on the winemaking side, on the wood type of oak selection, to reveal the freshness of this vintage and to avoid having something too heavy.
Yes.
You say the melons are sometimes
it's
too creamy.
Little brioche, but very soft.
That's it, but it remains very with zesty notes, floral, more than very, very dried fruit or overripe fruit. So of course you find the characteristic of a Meursault with a bit of viscosity you are expecting, but again with a zesty character, with some lift at the back that really give you some some freshness and energy.
Just a small precision on the technical sheets you can have in front of you. You can see some wines, they have some ratings, some other they don't have. When you have no ratings, it doesn't mean the journalist or the wine critic have not liked the wine. It's just because it has not been tested by them. So we hope probably in 3 months, 6 months' time, we can have some comments about our wines. See.
And so we are heading in the Beaujolais area, and especially within the
Beaujolais, the Grand Gamay.
The Grand Cru,
Great.
yeah, the Cru area. And of course, we're switching grapes from Pinot Noir to Gamay grapes. So this map shows you the 10 cru of Beaujolais.
10 cru in Beaujolais.
10 cru, yeah.
The most famous could be
Moulin-à-Vents,
Moulin-à-Vents.
of course, first one.
Morgon.
Then Morgon, as well as Fleury. But they all have their characteristics. We really focused on Moulin-à-Vents because we think that's really the earth where everything started, where you have beautiful granitic soil. You see it's some pink soils you can see here around the Moulin-à-Vents itself. Very poor soils where the Gamay will really suffer. It's really a big problem to plant some Gamay here in the area, as the clay and chalky soils will give too much food and too much energy to the Gamay. It will create too much grapes, but due to this very poor granitic pink soils,
you can see that on
the Gamay will
on the image on the photo.
Yeah, it's great.
You see, we are really on Mother Rock, on the rock.
So it's
the soil is
yes, the bedrock
30 centimeters max.
and the bedrock is showing. We cannot see it here, but the bedrock is showing.
Yes.
So you have a very limited layer of soil that gives very strong condition and difficult condition for the Gamay to grow. So this wine is
the intensity of the color.
Yeah. This wine is coming from 80 to 100 years old vineyards that are just surrounding the Rochegrès or the rock, the main rock, which is located in the center of the vineyard. It's interesting to describe this wine. Its vinification is the one we are using here, mostly on the Pinot, so it's destemmed. It's almost no full bunch that they are traditionally using in the Beaujolais area. So it's more the classic Burgundy maceration we are using on this wine to extract a little bit more than a classic Cru du Beaujolais. So this gives some beautiful colors, also some extraction, but always on the fruitiness with very silky tannins, and a beautiful combination of fruit, also some leaves to me, a bit of a green character that gives a beautiful sour.
Little bit of black cherry, and it's so silky. And the tannins are very soft. It's very round. It's no aggressivity at all.
It's very juicy.
Yes.
Very aromatic.
Juicy. That's it.
And so we can guess, and we've seen some beautiful food pairing with this wine, and it's totally different from what you could see in other Beaujolais, where they are only fruit driven. Here you've got this structure, very approachable structure, and that's why we really believe in this section of Beaujolais that tends to give some wines that can also age during decades if you want, and they can do that very beautifully.
Yeah, with 80 or 100 years old vines, on average, the yields, can you imagine, it's around 25 hectoliters, 28 hectoliters per hectare. It's really, this is the reason why you have this fantastic density of wine.
Yeah, it's great.
Density, but not heavy.
Yeah, it's very nice. And the good thing is the price, and is very good, very affordable wines for this Cru du Beaujolais.
Let's move to La Côte Chalonnaise. Côte Chalonnaise, we say Chalonnais because it's close to a city, not a big city, but a small city named Châlons, Chalon-sur-Saône. And close to Châlons, you have la Côte Chalonnaise with the famous village, for example, of Givry, Reuilly, but the most famous village is historically and obviously Mercurey. In Mercurey, you have no Grand Cru, but you have some Premier Cru and some Mercurey village level. On one of them, very specific plot, en Pierre Milley. En Pierre Milley, it means this vineyard used to belong 1 century, 2 centuries ago. I don't have, sorry, the precise history or story. The owner was Monsieur Pierre Milley. It was his part. We have the chance of owning his part now at the Domaine Adélie. Domaine Adélie is really, it has been set up in 2002, because Adélie, in fact, I have to confess, it's the name of my eldest daughter, Adélie. And when we created this domain, it was really the year when she was born. So one very bright and genius people in the winery told me, but you are looking for a name, give the name of your daughter, and that's it. So Domaine Adélie, my friends.
So in Mercurey, you have it's quite large appellation of a bit more than 650 hectares in total that produce roughly 500, a bit more, 500 hectares of reds and nearly 200 hectares of whites. So you can find both with some village level appellations, that's the wine we are tasting now, as well as some Premier Cru that show, in general, beautiful nose of red fruit, a bit of strawberry, a bit of strawberry, very fruit-driven on the red side, as well as flower type.
Flower type, small red fruit. You have concentration, but a good bright color. Yeah, bright color. Sure.
And so it's very expressive. It's really on the red fruit, it's showing very nicely. We could expect on this vintage some very dry fruit but it's not the case. So you've got this very expressive nose of very fresh fruit, summer fresh fruit.
Remember, you have reached the right maturity of the grapes.
Yeah. And especially this plot is really located at the top of the hill in Mercurey. So when you are leaving the village of Mercurey, you are going up. You will go through the Premier Cru side and then really be at the top in quite protected plateau, which is at a 320 meter high. So this is really the correct place to produce wine with a bit more.
When we say 320 meters, it seems silly, 300 meters. What does it mean? But for us, it makes really a difference. Most of the vineyards are roughly on 100 meters high, and when you can gain 50 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters, the wines can be quite different in terms of freshness, of delicacy, of precision. It's very helpful.
Yeah, so you are delaying, of course, the date of harvest. They tend to be picked a bit later, but day by day you are gaining in freshness, in precision. So it's fantastic, and it's again with very silky tannins. You can make the comparison with 2020 that were fantastic, but with a lot of power at this stage, with something very strong. But now they've been polished.
Very polished. It's really enjoyable
ready
now,
and not lacking any structure. It's very enjoyable already on this vintage.
I don't want to push you to drink all the 23 next week or next month, but you can be sure it's good also when it's young.
Yeah.
Let's finish this set of tasting with a blockbuster with les Malconsorts. Malconsorts, it's a very strange name. It's in Vosne-Romanée. So Vosne-Romanée, as you know, it's really the heart of the red Burgundy around the village of Vosne-Romanée. You have, of course, la Romanée-Conti, la Romanée, les Richebourg-Notre-Phare, la Romanée-Saint-Vivant, la Grande Rue, la Tâche. If you see, apparently you should have the map like we have. On the map, you see our plot, and just on the right part, you have another plot named La Tâche. So it's always I can't say a bad joke, but a good joke we have with Aubert de Villaine from DRC. Aubert, why La Tâche is so good? It's because it's our neighbor. You are our neighbors.
But no, he knows it. He knows that.
He knows that. He regrets, why. But that's it.
Yeah, so we are just a few hundred meters from really the big names. You know, La Romanée-Conti is one of the most visited vineyards. If you go here night and day, you will see some people visiting La Romanée-Conti, this very iconic place. And Les Malconsorts really touches La Tâche, that itself touches La Grande Rue, that itself touches La Romanée-Conti. So it's really a plot that probably could have been a Grand Cru. Maybe for historical reasons we don't really control. This is not a Grand Cru, but it's really on the same type of soil.
And if it's the best of the Premier Cru, I accept.
That's the best of the...
Les Suchots or les Godichots, it's really the same level for, of course, theoretically for les Malconsorts.
So to me, that's really an iconic wine of Vosne-Romanée.
Our plot, can you tell again the total surface?
Yeah, it's in hectares, it's 1.70 hectares in total. So we are the first owner of Les Malconsorts. And this combines two plots, one that will be nearly on the flat side and the other one which is more on the slope. So we will combine, of course, vinify them separately, give some appropriate care to the two. In terms of aging, it will be a bit different, and then we will blend them at the end.
So altogether, we produce roughly, on average, 6,000 bottles a year. This is the average production. And it's mainly, in terms of commerce, it's mainly sold, of course, in France, in Europe, for the restaurant, the grand restaurant, the wine connoisseurs. It's really the...
So this wine is allocated, of course, 100%. And it's a true icon of Vosne-Romanée, and it's like I said, it's almost a Grand Cru, so we'll sell almost the price of a Grand Cru. And you have all the delicacy, to me, all the delicacy of Vosne-Romanée, with a nice color, a very nice delicacy on the nose. You've got a little bit of everything. You've got some fresh fruit, as well as a bit of nuts, as a bit of bit of forest after the rain already. You've got this already Pinot expression, and on the mouth it's not a massive wine, and it will never be a massive wine, but you've got an extreme length. It's got some roundness and a very extreme length. So it talks to you.
The complexity, all the different spices. So this wine is vinified, of course, and bottled in Nuit Saint-Georges at Domaine du Clos Frantin. You can see some pictures. Everything is done there by the dedicated team. This vintage 23, 100% distilled.
Yes. Yeah, so you know that 23 was a vintage, like I said, vintage with some hectic condition at the end, and even if we had some very warm conditions just before the harvest and during the harvest. The stems themselves could be, sometimes a bit difficult to inspect, a bit difficult to assess due to the weather we had at the beginning of August that was not so good. So sometimes a bit of fraud. So we decided not to use a whole bunch on this particular vintage, which is not the case on another classic vintage, 2022, that has some whole bunch approach.
Here again, the tannins are very soft.
It's really rounded, and again, I'm really making the comparison with 20. I said this vintage 2023 is the hottest ever, but you will not find the characteristic you had on the beautiful 20 that are dark with tannin in the forefront. They really become to slow down and to open up at this stage. But this 2023 is really fruit oriented with fleshy character, beautiful tannins. So again, Of course, the weather was different, but also year after year we have a more, I think, more precise approach on warmer vintages in terms of date of picking, in terms of also extraction. Bunching is a bit different. Pump over are also made a bit differently. Pre-maceration steps are also made a bit differently to get more fruit and keep the freshness as much as we can, as well as the aging as well. Oak selection, time of length in oak to provide this elegance and freshness in a warmer vintage.
So you see, we like our wines very much. Maybe we are not very objective, but what we hope is that you can share our appreciations, our comments on our pleasure. Our pleasure.
That's
Wine at first is pleasure.
Terroir, pleasure, and sharing. Maybe a little word on the yield. So this vintage, like I said, was a very important vintage to take care of the yield. So that's what we did. But the production remains quite normal in 2023 for us, and with to us some very good results, which is not the case in 2024. So you know that 2024 has been really affected by rain and very big difficulties to keep the harvest in shape due to downy mildew especially. So it's also a vintage you have to really consider and assess due to the lack of
24.
The lack of wines in 24.
No, it's true that in 24, but we will see that next year when we'll meet you again here or on the field in Burgundy or on the market with you and with the team. 24 was very hard. We lost something more than 50% of the crop because of disease, mildew, like you said. But most important is what we have today.
So we are
23.
We are very lucky to have the volumes we have in this vintage and a very nice and approachable vintage that will really give you some big pleasure.
I don't spit, sorry.
Santé.
Cheers. So that's it for the tasting. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you have time, if we have time, and we have time, if there is any question you can ask. Apparently, Lucas, we have already some questions, or I see here.
Exactement. Juste avant ça, alors Trump suspend pendant 90 jours les tarifs.
Sorry?
Trump a suspendu pendant 90 jours les tarifs.
Tu veux qu'on rebondisse là-dessus ou... Sure.
Okay. We have a good news.
I think so.
Apparently, just
Really good news.
it seems that the American administration have suspended the tariffs for the next 3 months. So it's a good news.
It's good. The wine is good. And,
Thank you, America.
And the road is open, so...
Yes, we are happy.
Very
It's great.
good.
We don't want to make politics.
Yeah.
In any case. US is our friend for more than
And we
2-3 centuries.
We want this to go on, and we'll do everything we can.
We want to drink American wine. We want you to drink Burgundy wine. We want to share all together what the soil, what the earth give and offer to us. In any case, with or without tariffs.
Lucas,
Another question.
Are white wines outperforming the reds in the term of high quality and development?
So I repeat the question just in case you didn't hear or listen to. Is the white wine for the vintage 23 has super performed compared to the red?
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say that, as it's been challenging for both. Again, we discussed to keep this freshness and really the link with the terroir. But they both are very, very nice. You know, some vintages are more red oriented or more white oriented, and we will make a difference. But that's not the case here. It could have been a problem. Yeah, frankly, it could have been a problem on the acidity and freshness side. But we did really some fine tuning and adjustment especially on the winemaking step and the aging process in oak to keep this freshness as much as we can. So I wouldn't say for this vintage that the whites are outperforming. So, and this Meursault as well as the Chablis, and the Chablis really benefited from its more northern position to keep some freshness, also to be reactive when it was really time to go to harvest. So I think it's very interesting in both colors.
Great. Lucas, another?
In a few words, how would you describe 23 vintage? Few words.
Yeah.
Few words. 3 words, 4 words for 23.
Some, quelques-uns.
Yeah, I would say ripe, of course.
Nice.
It's part of the ripe vintages. Balanced. So again, that's something we couldn't expect. We could expect something unbalanced with very low acid. That's not the case. And very pleasant, or you've got this fruitiness, very rewarding fruitiness that makes the wine showing very well. And I would say linked with terroir. Again, the vintages with a hot temperature tends to flatten a little bit everything. So that could be a problem, and then you need time to have the terroir back in the forefront. And again, here the terroir shows beautifully, and we've seen it on the few wines we've seen.
Most of the wine critics we already received and tasted the 23 vintages. Really, they are so surprised, like we were, about the precision of each terroir, each soil, each identity. Maybe more than 22. Maybe more than 21. So, for me, this word is only one word: typicity, excellence.
And terroir, yeah.
Lucas?
Can you give us a sneak peek of how the 24 vintage is looking?
The 24 vintage, how it's looking?
Well,
it's in the cellar for the moment.
Yeah, it's in cellar. It's still aging, so it's looking very small. That's already something we know. Like we said, we had a quite big losses. I say that's Burgundy in general, due to this hectic weather condition.
Does it mean we will have a big concentration because of the small volume?
Yeah. It's not a vintage of full concentration, of very big concentration. But again, it's something to me very Burgundy, with again this terroir approach, but much more classic with a bit more acidity in general, a bit more freshness.
Austerity? Something austere?
Yes, at this stage, a bit more austerity. Beautiful whites, so we know already that they've got some this nice tension and very nice acidity. And the red will need a bit more aging to soften everything. But it's to me a very classic vintage on its style, and that will really be okay with the people that love the classic expression of the Pinot and Chardonnay. But again, it's very small, so pay attention to what you need to drink if you need some Burgundy wine.
Lucas, one or two last questions?
Are you planning to fully convert Chablis Vineyard to organic as well?
Yes. Very good question.
The question, just I repeat, when Domaine Long-Depaquit will be organically certified?
Yes, so very good question. So you know that the process in France takes 3 years to go through the entire process. So of course we started farming organic more than 10 years ago, but it takes time, especially in Chablis with the slopes and very big slopes in La Moutonne, in Les Vaux-Copains, in Blanchot. So the teams are very focused on this, and this current year, 2025, is the last of the 3 years. So vintage 2025 will be certifically and certified organically. Yeah.
Even if the 24 was already.
Of course, it's
conversion, but converted on the 23. One last question.
Are there any new projects you have in mind at Albéric Bichot?
New projects. Every year we have new projects. We have the next vintage. Each vintage is a new page to write, of course. But of course we have some project. In the vineyard we do what we can do, of course. We work a lot on the global sustainability is really, we can say, our main focus. Of course, in the vineyard, in the winery, in the bottle, For example, next August we will entering a new I don't say factory, but a new warehouse where we store some of our wines, where we will bottle some of our wines. This new building is really dedicated 200% sustainable. For example, in terms of electricity, we will have 3,000 square meters of solar panels. We will be completely self-sufficient in electricity for all our sites. This is something very important. Even for our teams, for the workers working in the cellar, we have invested in new robots. So instead of using muscles of people, we try to use more their brain. We invite you to come on to visit us. We will show you. It's great. So we should be 3.0 winery
4.0
in Burgundy. 4.0.
Yeah, and this is not a project. So this new cellar is currently being built with, of course, a lot of new things to be better, to take care again more and more of the wines, also to have more. It's more client-oriented to be more also efficient
on using
sales
100% of the rainwater for many things to clean the soils, etc.
Yeah. So many projects also in the vineyards we didn't mention, but the two estates have expanded last year. Domaine du Clos, Frantin and Domaine du Pavillon have been extended to new appellations. So we'll give you more details about that. But
yes, in La Côte de Nuit, yes, it's true. Domaine du Clos Frantin has expanded with a new appellation, Fissin, red and white. You will discover that in 1, 2, 3 years' time. And also we had the chance in Pommard to now control more, 3 hectares more, with 2 hectares of Premier Cru, Clos on 1 hectare of Pommard l'Écras. Everything is close to Domaine du Pavillon. You will see it's really fantastic, and it's a great achievement, we can say.
Yeah, it's great. And it's
because today to expand in Burgundy, I can tell you it's difficult. Not so easy.
So despite the very historical house here for being here for a long time, we still have got very interesting project for the future. To expand, of course, the size of the
we
estate.
move forward every day.
And
even
also,
for example, we had a great experimentation some months ago when we shipped to New York some pallets, some wines, in a sailboat for a carbonic consumption almost zero. So we try to explore this kind of new ways to protect the planet, and to protect the vineyards, and to protect ourselves. So if we can ship you, we don't know what will be in the next century or the next 20, 50 years, but probably transportation is one of the key points for the planet. So let's share to the planet.
Last question. Yeah, 23, it's a great deal for you in front of 24.
Yeah, it's a great deal, I would say. Of course, quality-wise, we are really happy with it. I think we've told it, and it's something interesting. Again, you have to consider the crop in 2024, and with the shortages to be announced again. So, if you like the wine, if you really liked it, you had a very small sample. We really selected this one because we think they show what we did and the approach we had on this vintage. If you like them, buy them. But just something I can say. This is really the type of vintage you can already have. Some other vintages, again, I'm back to 20. We'll need a few years of cellar before expanding and giving the best. This kind of vintage is really fruit-driven, we say it, with beautiful tannin, so they can be drunk a bit earlier than some other vintages. So take pleasure with them, and yes, that's definitely a great deal.
My friends, thank you so much. We have to leave.
Thank you.
No, we can stay, but we have to leave you, or you have to leave us. More than 45 minutes, 1 hour. No, thank you, Matthieu. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you for attending and listening to us. And thank you for your questions.
And we wait for you here in Burgundy. But in any case, we will come and see you for sure in the coming months. Or, of course, the Albéric Bichot team in the US. Jim, the boss, the president, we share a glass with you. All the rest of the team, the boys, the ladies, you are working so well. You have the passion. You are Burgundian. Thank you.
Santé.
See you soon.
Bye bye.